Have you ever wondered about the figures who ruled one of the most magnificent civilizations in history? For over 3,000 years, the pharaohs of Egypt weren't just kings. They were considered living gods, bridges between the heavens and the earth. Their story is a sprawling epic of power, ambition, and a quest for eternity. Let's journey back in time, all the way to the dawn of ancient Egypt. Our story begins around 3100 BC. Imagine a land divided Upper and Lower Egypt, two separate kingdoms. Then, a legendary figure named Namur, or perhaps Menes, emerges. He unites the two lands, symbolized by the iconic double crown, and establishes the first dynasty. This act didn't just create a country, it forged a concept. The idea of a single, divine ruler was born, and the capital, Memphis, became the heart of this new kingdom. The early pharaohs, like Djoser, started to think big. Djoser's Besier, the genius architect, Imhotep, decided a simple tomb wasn't enough. He stacked mastabas, one on top of the other, creating the world's first monumental stone building. The Step Pyramid. This was a revolution in architecture and a powerful statement of the pharaoh's eternal power. This innovation set the stage for the Old Kingdom, often called the Age of the Pyramids. This is the era of the giants. Pharaohs like Sneferu experimented with pyramid design, from the bent pyramid to the red pyramid, perfecting the craft. His son, Khufu, then commissioned the grandest of them all, the Great Pyramid of Giza. Imagine the sheer scale of this project. Millions of massive stone blocks, a workforce of thousands, all organized with incredible precision to build a mountain of stone as his eternal resting place. His successors, Khafre and Menkaure, added their own pyramids and the mysterious Great Sphinx, creating the iconic Giza Plateau we know today. These weren't just tombs. They were resurrection machines, designed to ensure the pharaoh's journey to the afterlife and his rebirth as a god. But even the most powerful kingdoms faced challenges. After centuries of stability, the Old Kingdom's central authority weakened. Regional governors, called nomarchs, gained more power, and a period of instability, the First Intermediate Period, began. The unity of the two lands fractured, yet the ideal of a divine king never truly died. After about a century of division, a powerful ruler from Thebes, Mentuhotep II, reunited Egypt, kicking off the Middle Kingdom. This era was a classical age of revival. The pharaohs of this time were seen as more of a shepherd of the people. They focused on public works, fortifying the borders, and expanding trade. Literature and art flourished, with tales of adventure and wisdom literature becoming popular. Pharaohs like Senusret III were formidable military leaders, expanding Egyptian influence south into Nubia, securing valuable resources like gold. However, history has a rhythm of rise and fall. A new wave of outsiders, the Hyksos, who possessed superior military technology like horse-drawn chariots, managed to settle in the Nile Delta and eventually took control of northern Egypt. This marked the beginning of the Second Intermediate Period. The Theban rulers in the south, however, refused to bow. They learned from their conquerors, adopting the chariot and new types of bows. A fierce war of liberation began, led by pharaohs like Sik, who likely died in battle, and his sons, Kamose and Ahmose I. It was Ahmose who finally expelled the Hyksos and reunited Egypt, heralding the most glorious chapter yet. This is the new kingdom, the age of empire. Egypt was no longer on the defensive. It was a global superpower. Pharaohs were now warrior kings, leading vast armies. Thutmose III, sometimes called the Napoleon of Egypt, conducted numerous military campaigns, expanding the empire to its greatest extent, from Syria in the north to deep into Nubia in the south. Wealth poured into Egypt from tribute and trade, funding construction on an unimaginable scale. At Karnak, pharaoh after pharaoh added to the massive temple complex, creating a forest of colossal columns and towering obelisks dedicated to the state god, Amun-Ra. This era also gave us some of the most famous names in Egyptian history. Hatshepsut, a woman who ruled as a full pharaoh, donned the traditional false beard and commissioned incredible building projects. including her stunning mortuary temple at Deir el-Bahri. Then there was Akhenaten, the heretic king. He abandoned the entire pantheon of Egyptian gods to worship a single deity, the sun disk. Aten, he moved the capital to a new city, Amarna, and oversaw a dramatic shift in art, which became more realistic and intimate. It was a radical revolution, but one that didn't last. After Akhenaten's death, his young son, Tutankhamun, ascended the throne. Guided by his advisors, he restored the old gods and moved the capital back to Thebes. While he was a relatively minor pharaoh in his own time, his legacy became immortal in 1922 when Howard Carter discovered his tomb, completely intact. The treasures of King Tut gave the world a breathtaking, golden glimpse into the wealth and craftsmanship of the new kingdom. Following the Amarna period, the Ramesside pharaohs sought to restore Egypt's glory. Seti I was a great builder and warrior, but his son, Ramesses II, or Ramesses the Great, took it to a whole new level. He ruled for an incredible 67 years, a master of both warfare and propaganda. He fought the Hittite Empire to a standstill at the Battle of Kadesh, and then signed the world's first known peace treaty. He covered Egypt with monuments to himself, from the great temple at Abu Simbel, with its 4 colossal statues of him, to the Ramesseum, his mortuary temple. To the people of Egypt, he was the embodiment of pharaonic power. But even the mightiest empires eventually fade. Following Ramesses the Great, a succession of weaker pharaohs and external pressures, including invasions by the Sea Peoples, weakened Egypt. The late period was a time of struggle, with periods of foreign rule by Libyans, Nubians, and Persians. Though native Egyptian pharaohs occasionally regained control, the Golden Age was over. The story of the pharaohs, as independent rulers of Egypt, comes to a final, dramatic end with the arrival of a new conqueror from Macedon, Alexander the Great. He was welcomed as a liberator from Persian rule and was crowned pharaoh, but his death led to his general, Ptolemy, taking control. This began the Ptolemaic dynasty. The Ptolemies, though Greek, ruled as pharaohs, adopting Egyptian traditions to legitimize their reign. The last of this line, and the final pharaoh of Egypt, was the brilliant and charismatic Cleopatra VII. She navigated the treacherous world of Roman politics, aligning with Julius Caesar and later Mark Antony to protect her kingdom. But with their defeat at the hands of Octavian, later Emperor Augustus, Cleopatra chose to end her own life rather than be paraded as a Roman captive. In 30 BC, Egypt became a province of Rome, and the 3,000-year-old line of the pharaohs came to an end. From Narmer's unification to Cleopatra's final stand, the pharaohs shaped not just Egypt, but the world. They were pyramid builders, temple constructors, conquerors, and gods on earth. Their legacy lives on in the silent gaze of the Sphinx, the towering columns of Karnak, and the golden mask of a boy king. They were obsessed with eternity, and in a way, they achieved it. Their story continues to capture our imagination. A timeless tale of power, faith, and a civilization that dared to build for forever. Thanks so much for watching, and if you enjoyed this journey through time, be sure to like, subscribe, and hit that notification bell for more adventures into history. See you next time.